Okay, so you have done quadratics with factoring. Now you're going to do quadratics with equations. Okay, so you have done expressions in section 5-4, that's what that was. And then this is the quadratic equations. This is actually section 5-5. I forgot to write that on the other video, but this is section 5-5. And I don't think you can read that, so let me put it right here. Section 5-5. Okay, so quadratic equations, all right? The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to y. Okay, because we can graph these as well. Okay, so that's the equation for any quadratic. Okay, again, the highest degree is a 2. All right, so the standard form of a quadratic equation is, this is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Okay, so we have to get it in standard form by setting one side equal to 0 of the equation. Okay, so basically what did they do with the y? They set it equal to 0 so that they could solve for the x. Okay, otherwise we have too many unknowns up here. Okay, so they set y equal to 0, and now we can solve for x. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing, right? And if we set y equal to 0, when you're going to do your graphing later, that means it's right on the x-axis is when you set y equal to 0. Okay, so that's why that will work on your graphing calculator. So we'll get to that a little later. Okay, so we can solve some quadratics in standard form by factoring the quadratic expression and then using the zero product property. Now you've already done this. I don't know if you've done the terminology, but there's the vocabulary. Okay, so zero product property, the definition is if A times B is equal to 0, then that means that I can set A equal to 0 or B must be equal to 0. Okay, so if A is equal to 0, then that's 0 times B, which is 0. Or you can say A times, if I set B equal to 0, that's A times 0 is equal to 0. So that's why that would work there. Okay? So that's why we do this next step here. If the quantity, here's an example. If the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x minus 5 equals 0, then what would we do? We would say then x plus 3, that's relating to, substituting in for my a, right? So there's my a, there's my b. So I say x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so I say this piece is equal to 0 right there, or this piece is equal to 0. Okay, so that's why we do that step right there. Okay, all right, and then here's an example. Solve for x. All right, so lots of people get stuck when it's in this form, but it's really the easier form. So let's take a look at an example. If I give you 2x plus 1 times the quantity x minus 4 is equal to 0. Okay? So if I were to give you this equation and I ask you to solve for x, you're already at the factored stage. It's already factored out for you, so that's very nice. So then I would do this. This is how I'm going to show you. I'm going to split this. This is my OR. So this OR and this OR, they're the same OR. Okay? So instead of writing it horizontal, I'm going to do it vertically for you. Okay? So then you would set this piece equal to 0 or this piece equal to 0. So 2x plus 1 is equal to 0 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. And then you solve for x on those little two equations. So this one you're going to subtract 1 and you have 2x is equal to a negative 1 and then divide by 2. Okay, so there's one solution, x equals negative 1/2. Okay, or this one's the easier one, just add 4 to both sides, or x is equal to a positive 4. Okay, so your solutions, and they can be in set notation, it can be negative 1/2, 4, you might see it like that. Okay, you might see it like x is equal to negative 1/2, comma 4. Okay, but do not put parentheses as an x and y coordinate. It is the x, they're the x-intercepts actually on the x-axis. So that's what they represent. So we'll get to that a little later. I don't think you can see this on the screen, so sorry about that. All right, so let me write it up here. You could also see it written like this, -4, because you can't see it down here, so that's what this would represent as well, okay? These are called your solutions, okay? There's other names for them as well. They're called the solutions. Let me just write this down, I guess. These are solutions, roots, zeros, or x-intercepts. That's what all of these are. They're all the same name, okay? All right? So all of these names mean exactly the same thing. I don't mean they're the same names, but so solutions, roots, zeros, or x-intercepts. Okay, so we'll be making this all come together, come alive for you as we continue through this chapter 5.